Wyoming and whitetails sounds like an odd couple, but host Ron Spomer learns different on this Winchester World of Whitetail.
Right here between these big, massive Wind River Mountains and the Laramie Mountains, there are whitetail deer.
What is it? Yeah, that's it. Chasing those, yeah. I can get it from right here. 240 yards. That's it, that's it. Now stop.
Winchester's World of Whitetail.
There's a big whitetail buck. Got 2 ear tips anyway. There's 2 more. 3, 4. No, that's not quite what we're looking for. The stomach is pulled up pretty high, like he's only a 3-year-old buck. He just doesn't have that mass. A completely mature buck. More elevation here. There we go. We got more deer out in the field now. 2 fresh ones. That's a buck. On a doe right there. Ooh, this one's got some antlers. There we go. 4x4. He's real heavy, but he's got some nice mass to his antlers, and he's coming our way. No, that's just a little 4x2. He's not a massive animal. Good, but not incredible.
Wyoming is the cowboy state. Wyoming is the antelope state. It has more antelope than people, and it has more antelope than any other place in the world. So the big question is, here in late November, what is Winchester's World of Whitetail doing in Wyoming? Well, of course, we're doing what the World of Whitetail always does. We're examining and investigating the whitetail world, and by golly, it turns out that the center of Wyoming, right here between these big, massive Wind River Mountains and the Laramie Mountains, there are whitetail deer. They're living on agricultural fields irrigated down along the Wind River, and they're mixed in with mule deer, they're mixed in with people and horses and farms. They're in classic whitetail habitat in a really unusual whitetail state, Wyoming. Wyoming, Winchester's World of Whitetail, it's the big W. Stay tuned, we're going to find out just how big these Wyoming whitetails get.
Spomer's destination, Wind River Whitetails, named for the river and mountain foothills it lies along. For most of a decade, owners Mike and Teresa Reinhardt have enhanced the habitat and managed the herd, improving bucks by 40 inches, and only a few hunters each year get to see what they've accomplished.
Living on the Wind River is like no place else on earth. We get to see a lot of different wildlife now. We're starting to see elk, we're starting to see moose. We've had bear up and down the river from time to time. And the property that we currently own, we've owned for 9 years. And our first priority was to develop some really nice habitat so that we can not only maintain the whitetail deer, we can maintain the other species that thrive off of preserved habitat. It's just been really fun to watch how the wildlife, once you provide them a great opportunity to have a safe living, it's been fun to watch the wildlife move in.
We've got deer in an open field. The way the property lines lie, it's difficult to approach it. And while trying to approach it, we go through all these mule deer and spook them. It's an embarrassment of riches again. But I think we're in a position to cut them off if they start coming across. I just haven't seen one worth cutting off yet.
These cottonwood river bottoms in the west are the lifeblood for whitetails. Most of us know that. Whitetails love this kind of riparian habitat with all the deciduous trees. The whitetail weren't here historically. It was mule deer country, elk country. Then we added those agricultural crops. That made all the difference. Whatever the exact ingredients are, we have them here, and the whitetail is now thriving in a strange location, central Wyoming at the base of the Big Wind River Mountains.
There's another one walking toward us. That's a good one. See what he's got? He's got broken tines on one side. Nice brows. Beautiful brow tines, but he's broken two points off his G2 and his G3. Dang. Nice and heavy. That's too bad. Puts him out of running. Boy, that one back in the trees now. He's gonna move after a doe. Oh, he's a heavy-bodied old guy. Big 4x4. He jumped over the fence now and he's heading in. There, he jumped again. Great. I would like a better look at that buck. He's nice. This one walking around out here with all the busted up antlers. Got a nice main beam on him. He's a good 140s class buck before he broke up. Pretty fair buck. He's worth photographing. Not quite worth shooting. Doggone, they've been fighting in here. It's the peak of the rut, and they are chasing does through the fields and out of the fields and into the sagebrush. There's just a lot of action, and it's plenty cold enough. If there's ever been a peak for rut activity, it should be now. See that one buck way out there? And the neighbors following the doe. He's a big, heavy old buck. Can't hunt across that fence. We can only hunt this field. The one behind us. So the field that big guy's on. In fact, all those deer right now are across the fence. But that big one that went in the woods over here, that'd be our baby. Should have gotten a better look at him before he jumped in.
Chasing whitetail in the rut with the attendant problems of property lines and broken tines. But Ron hunts on.
There's one deer down in the corner already. And it's a buck too, and a nice one. Oh my goodness. What do you think? Should I shoot him? Gotta wait for that doe to clear. That's it.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Bushnell, the new laws of performance. And by Mossberg, field-proven performance. High and dry Wyoming is unexpected whitetail country, but it's drawing more attention, especially when its potential is known.
There's one deer down in the corner already. Starting to come out to the field. It's a buck too, and a nice one. Oh my goodness.
The biggest whitetail ever recorded from the state of Wyoming scored 191 5/8. It was taken in 1986 by Robert Ross, and it was shot in the foothills of the Laramie mountain range. That's unusual habitat and unusual country for that big of a whitetail. And it's been a long time since 1986. Isn't it about time for Wyoming to kick out a new record whitetail? And could it come from an even stranger place, a Wind River country in the heart of Wyoming, right here near Riverton? Well, we're about to find out on this episode of Winchester's World of Whitetails.
With the weather turning his way and the excellent habitat and superior deer genetics that the owners of Wind River Whitetails have developed, the trophy odds look in Spomer's favor. But it's still the rut, when anything can happen.
Well, things have changed quickly in Wyoming. Went from 4 degrees yesterday morning to 44 degrees this afternoon. And another thing has changed. I think I figured out how to waylay these deer. They're bedding in the river trees down here in the thick stuff, and they're feeding in alfalfa fields right in front of me, across the irrigation canal, and then behind me, and they're going as much as a mile out into those fields, and then coming back in the morning. The trick is to intercept them. This morning I saw a really nice, heavy 4x4 buck bounce into the trees right there. I'm hoping he and that doe come out to the same spot. So I've got some pretty high hopes. This seems to be the peak of activity right now. I just have to sort of lie low here, watch things carefully, and be ready to shift by sneaking down these sagebrush strips right here, left or right, to get the drop on things coming out moving. Ooh, here's a good one right here. Ah, it's a nice rack. I guess this is a 5x5 and wider. What do you think? Should I shoot him? Oh, I'm torn. Well, let's just keep watching this. There's a doe coming out over here. She might bring something else out.
Folks often ask why I pass up some of the big bucks that I do. Well, I guess there are several reasons. One of them is, well, that's that old standard. If you shoot the first good one you see, you're not going to be able to shoot the booner. And I always try to get a really, really special deer in a new area. And that means passing up a 145, 150 class buck the first day. I pass it up. That's the price you pay for trying to get the really big one. But another reason has to do with sort of a basic philosophy. One doesn't hunt in order to kill, but one kills in order to have hunted. And that makes sense when you think about it. The essence of hunting is to be able to get something, or at least have the opportunity to kill an animal. We go out to hunt because we want to get something, and that's the difference between hunting and wildlife photography, for instance. You go out with your camera, you don't get one, big deal. You're not going to starve. But if you want venison, you'd better shoot one. So knowing that you have the opportunity to shoot, that's what makes it extra exciting. That's what makes it a hunt. I have hunted long enough, often enough, in enough places that I don't have to shoot another 140 class buck unless I need the meat. And I get to hunt enough each year that I don't always need the meat out of every buck that I take, so I can afford to take chances and skip some bucks, hoping to get that really big one.
And we've got a new one over here. You watch him, he's the best thing we got going right now. I hit him with the rangefinder and blind him. Now this thing says 345, but that's the trees behind him, so he's probably 300.
Where does long range begin for the rifle hunter? Beyond 300 yards, everything's critical. And along with the right rifle and scope, a hunter needs the perfect ammunition.
Laser rangefinders like this Bushnell Scout 1000 are really great conservation tools because they give us precise distances to our target. They keep us from shooting too far or beyond our capabilities, and they reduce wounding losses. But you've got to know how to use these things. They get pretty complicated, so don't just walk out in the woods with one right out of the package. Read the directions, learn how to use it, and practice, just the same as you would with a rifle. And then when you're in the field, use that thing before you see your deer. Range things as you hike and hunt, so you've got a good idea ahead of time if a deer pops up roughly how far away it is. If you have time, you can range the animal himself. But if you don't have time, you've got a pretty good idea already. That's smart use of a rangefinder. It also helps you learn to judge ranges on your own. Range that rock, range that tree, make a guess and see how close you come. After a few of those, you're going to become a pretty good quick ranger on your own. Laser rangefinders can really help you become a better shot and a more effective conservation hunter.
Tines aren't all that long, though. No. He's nothing outstanding. He's same spread. Another 4-pointer. Damn. They're all peas in a pod here. Okay, so that's 3 we've turned down now. 4x4s, 4x4s, 4x4s. They're like Ram trucks. They're all 4x4s. They get around really well. But I don't want the 1500, I want the 3500 model. Ooh, now there's a deer trail. Wow. That's kind of a main route right there.
Rutting activity is at a fever pitch. But the challenge for Spomer remains running across that right buck.
There's a whitetail buck off to the right, way back there. I gotta chase that doe again. Oh, he's nice and wide.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Mossberg. Field-proven performance. Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Shop at one of over 30 locations or online at sportsmanswarehouse.com. Mossy Oak. It's not a passion, it's an obsession. Wind River Whitetails. It may sound counterintuitive, but Spomer has found great whitetail hunting in Wyoming. Now he has to find the big buck that all the signs point to.
Ooh, now there's a deer trail. Wow. That's kind of a main route right there. Problem with sitting on a trail down here, there's so many of them. I must have come across a dozen or more already. Here's another one. You wouldn't know which one to sit on. Thankfully, I've got a rifle and I don't have to pick one. I just need to find a nice open angle where I can cover out to 400 yards of this river bottom. They've got to cross this open ground at some point.
There's a whitetail buck off to the right, way back there. That's tall, but that's pretty massive, huh? is really wide, and another 4x4. Maybe nice and wide. Very pale. Those are darker colored males. Look at that. They're going farther away from the river instead of coming in.
Big buck gets his doe, she's about ready. He was no competition, so he moves her away from the competition. Maybe the doe leads him away. I'm not sure because I'm not a deer, but I see it again and again and again in this open country. The two on their honeymoon move out in the crazy habitat that you would never think a whitetail would use. And then when they're done with the honeymoon, they're back to the river bottoms where you would expect whitetail.
Looks like another 4.130. Boy, look at that steam coming out of his mouth. He's been chasing that doe and he's all steamed up, tongue hanging up. Why is he running in front of the doe? I think he thinks he's trying to cut her off. But that crazy buggers are going way out in that pasture. I guess we're gonna have to skip him for now. He's a nice healthy buck, but wait, see what else pops up. There's 3 does yet. Gotta be working those does. There he is. Yeah, that's it. Chasing does here. I can get him from right here. That's about 240 yards. Get away from that doe now, buddy. That's it, that's it. Now stop.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Bushnell, the new laws of performance. And by Mossy Oak. It's not a passion, it's an obsession. Ron Spomer's uncovering the hidden treasure of Wyoming whitetail, but with rutting frenzy, broken tines, and deer on the wrong side of the fence, Mr. Biggs still eluding him, so far.
Was a buck with me. Where'd he go? He's out there someplace. There's 3 does yet. Gotta be working those does. They're looking back at something. He's back in that corner. There he is. Yeah, that's it. Chasing does here. I can get him from right here. That's about 240 yards. Yeah, there he is. Yes, let's stay there, stay there. Oh. Get away from that doe now, buddy. There we go. That's it, that's it. Now stop. Saw him flopping. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Beautiful. Doe's just standing there, one ran off, he's down in the grass. Oh, there he is. There he is, right where he was standing. I don't think he moved at all. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that's that forked G2 buck. Saw him the first night scouting. Came out real late and he looked pretty impressive then. Got a lot of mass, that's a good buck. Looks like we got him right on the shoulder here. Yeah, a little bit of hole right there. Dumped him right in a heap. I'm impressed by this. Both this Mossberg 4x4 has an accurate rifle and these 130 grain Power Max bonded Winchester bullets. They're just dropping stuff. One shot, down it goes. Deadly accurate. This is really impressive. That is a nice mature deer. Good heavy bases, get a bunch of gnarly bumps down there. Good heavy brow tines. A little character there in the hair. A nice spread. Yeah, and he was heavy in the rut. All these bucks are rutting big time. The little guys, the big guys, in between, everybody's chasing does. Thank gosh this guy showed up. Where I've been looking all morning, here he suddenly is. They can pop up in a hurry when they're chasing does. So never give up.
Got him, did you?
Hey, you guys are excellent timing. I just got done with the dirty work.
Congratulations.
You don't want to shake that, buddy.
That's all right.
Okay.
I'm afraid.
Now that's a good heavy 4-year-old animal anyway. I will pass up a good, strong, heavy 5x5 that's only 3 years old in preference for taking a fully mature 4 to 6-year-old buck that might not have as big of an antler on him, but he's a fully mature animal. And I think it's a good thing to do is to let those little guys grow up and then take the big one. Just my philosophy on hunting. Will you do me the favor of hoisting them up into my tongue?
Absolutely.
I've got to get a little help. Throw them in the truck would be great. Mr. Buck. Oh, he's got to weigh at least 280 pounds. Up we go, attaboy. And roll him right onto the tailgate. And then we put that little tailgate extender to hold him in. Got mine locked in.
Got it.
Okay. Got to ride pretty well right there. Got a great little spot here. Sure had fun. Wish I could do it all over again. In Wyoming, there are more deer than people. And sometimes the deer have to adopt a human family just so they can survive. Don't have much control. The first Wyoming whitetail that I see.